Hi, folks. This is Frank Deming, Mr. Mark with Ease, and I want to welcome you to today's webinar. And the title of today's webinar is How to Guarantee You Earn $10,000 per month in your online business. Now, I know that's a very bold statement, and later on in this webinar, I'm going to prove to you how simple it is to succeed online and earn $10,000 per month in your online business just by one simple step. But before I can actually show you how that can happen, you need to understand a couple of fundamental things. And that is, you need to understand why 90% of all home based business entrepreneurs fail. And the reason why you need to know that is because you could be doing certain things that they do to fail, and I don't want to put you in that barrel. And I want to get you over that hump. So you need to understand that first, and then stop doing it, and then you start succeeding. Another thing you need to understand is how best to ensure that you are part of the 10% that actually succeed. And it's a couple of steps that you need to do to make sure that that happens. Okay, just wanted to basically pre-frame this webinar that way. I've been doing a couple of these this week, I have a couple coming next week as well. So getting better at it as I go through. So I pre-frame it a little better each webinar I do. Anyway, before we get started, guys, uh, this is some very powerful information. So I want you to put away all distractions, silence your cell phones, turn off your TV and your radio, shut down Skype, whatever you have to do to put away distractions. Just let's put that stuff away so you can get the most out of this webinar and start succeeding. I want you to grab a pen and paper because I want you to take notes throughout this webinar. Okay. It's very important that you understand the concepts I'm going to be introducing you to so that you can start succeeding. Okay. Another thing that I want you to do is understand about this webinar is that it's not an instant interactive webinar. What I mean by that is I'm sure many of you have been in webinars before that you can chat with the guy and you can ask questions and all that kind of stuff. I've been running, I did a series of these back in May of this year, and and I did it that way. And the webinar was longer, the interaction and everything. And you guys are busy people. I'm a busy person as well. I'm doing a couple of these this week, a couple of these next week as well. And so I don't want, I don't want to, I don't want to take up a lot of your time. You're busy people. I just want to get to the content. However, I do have a way where you can communicate on the webinar. I'm implementing some new technology where you can send me an email while we're talking right now, and my assistant, who's also on, she can answer any questions pertaining to the content that I'm about to share with you on this webinar. So you can do that. You can just ask the questions via email, and she will respond to you right away. Now, if there's something on there that she cannot answer, just simply wait until after the webinar so you can post your stuff. If you don't get a response right away, it's probably something that she cannot answer. And what I'll do is I'll get to all the questions as quick as possible. It just works a lot better this way. Plus, a lot of times I was finding out that it wasn't working out. A lot of people were shy and not asking questions, and that doesn't bode well for anybody. And they weren't asking questions because they didn't want anybody to know their question. This way, it's just you and I talking via email, and it's only you and I who know the questions that you asked, and my assistant, of course. Okay. All right. Cool. So here's what we're going to cover in this webinar. Okay. First of all, kind of talked about this already. I want to show you the characteristics that every home business owner has when they fail. Very important for you to understand that. Okay. I also want to go over the characteristics that every home business owner has when they succeed. It's also very important for you to understand because you want to start doing the stuff that they're doing. Okay. Now, one of the most important things that we are going to talk about today, and this is where you really, really got to hone in and track down notes. There are four simple ingredients to imminent online success, folks, and I'm going to drill that down and talk to you about that, so that way you can really start seeing results in your business because I want everybody to succeed. And last but not least, I'm gonna show you how to ensure your success online. That is the purpose of this whole webinar. Okay, I want to show you exactly how you can ensure success online. Not only that, how you can make 10 grand per month within the next 12 months, maybe sooner, depending on your skill set. Okay, so let's boogie. Um, Basically, I want to introduce myself. My name is Frank Deming, as you know. They call me Mr. Market with Ease, and for various reasons, but we don't want to talk about that right now. But I want to introduce myself because apparently, some of you don't know who I am. So I want to say who Frank Deming is. I'm going to make a really quick statement right now of who I am, and that's, I'm an online entrepreneur and a consummate family man who dared to leave a six-figure income job and proceeded to live a life of freedom, abundance, and prosperity. And that wasn't easy. That did not come easy, folks. That was a challenge. I'm going to talk to you exactly what that challenge was because my life was not smooth at all. I was unhappy and just plain frustrated with my job. And I was not even getting along with my boss. I mean, it was a constant nip and tuck with him. And I think the thing that I hated most about my job, I live in the Washington D.C. metropolitan area, and if any of you on this call are familiar with this area, it's not a fun commute during the rush hour time. Uh, Oftentimes it just took forever just to get to and from work, and it didn't make for a fun day. Either way, you know what I'm saying? It was just I didn't like my boss anyway. I didn't like my job. It was frustrating, so it didn't matter. And then the commute just made it worse. Anyway, here's what I used to do for a living before I became an online entrepreneur. I was a program manager. I worked for a high profile government contractor, and my account was I was responsible for the DHS account, the Department of Homeland Security, and my projects ranged, uh, you know, from TSA, anything to do with security of the U.S. That was you know, that was my my program. I had to manage that program. And it sounds all glamorous, but to be honest with you, it was not. It just meant late nights working, never seeing my family. And then all of a sudden, the customer deadlines were just becoming very, very unreasonable, and it even kept me up later at nights. And then they had some layoffs as well, actually. And with those layoffs, it shortened my staff, which basically increased my job load. And needless to say, I wanted out. I just couldn't take it. I saw my daughter do stuff, and I would talk to my wife. I say, "Hey, wow, I didn't know she can do this." And she goes, "Well, yeah. I mean, you're missing out on a lot." And I realized that myself. So I needed to, it was basically time for a change. So I took matters into my own hands, and I decided to look for ways out of the job. And a friend of mine who used to do network marketing, he invited me to an MLM meeting, and all those circles and all that diagrams that the guys put up in the form there in the screen made a lot of sense to me because if I was going to replace my six-figure income job and not sacrifice my family and my lifestyle, I needed to make money. I needed to make a lot of money, and I saw MLM as a vehicle to do that. Now, I was turned off, to be honest with you, with that whole hype and in those meetings that they had, and it was just full of hype, and I just didn't like it, that part. But I still stuck with it only because I really and truly had that burning desire to leave my job. It was to me there was no other option but to leave my job. However, I didn't do any of the things that my upline told me to do. Like, I didn't recruit my friends and family. I didn't go that route. I didn't talk to them about it. I took a couple of I read a couple of books on marketing, and I started doing some marketing on newsletters, and did some local newspaper marketing and things of that nature. I did hand out some flyers every now and then, things of that nature. But basically, I failed, and I failed miserably for 2 years. I mean, it was not a easy. It was tough. Put it that way. It was very, very tough. And I really contemplated going back to the job because I needed to make a living. And I was like, man, I needed to make a living, and this thing, I burnt a lot of money down the drain. And this thing, it was just getting tough, tough, tough. I almost gave up. I said, well, maybe the job, maybe this isn't my thing, and the job is not as bad as all. Not as bad as I thought it was, right? But a light at the end of the tunnel came when I was introduced to the affiliate marketing business concept, and I was in heaven because I truly, truly loved it. When I understood how it worked, because basically you can make 75% commission on everything that you sell. You don't have to do any recruiting, no convincing, and none of those hype meetings that was really turning me off. If you guys can appreciate this, I'm a very calm person, laid back, and that hype stuff is a big turnoff to me. So I was very happy with this affiliate marketing thing. And to me, it was a true business model because it was like a buying decision that the customer made. It wasn't that you had to convince them or anything like that. It was just basically you presented them with an offer, they were looking for it, and whether they liked it or not, they will make that decision right then and there. Yep, I like it, I want to buy it, or I don't want to buy it, whatever that case is, right? Just like regular department store, right? And that was the kind of business model that I was looking for. And unfortunately, folks, guys, all after even this huge business model was great and it was well aligned with my personality, I still failed. I mean, I failed miserably. I couldn't turn the corner. I couldn't make any decent money out of this stuff. And again, I thought in back then my mindset was a little different. I thought that there's no way I can replace my income. I'm stuck for 40 years. But anyway, after I don't want to bore you with this stuff. After 3 years of struggling with, 2 years with MLM and 1 year with the affiliate marketing business, success in the online business for me came in the form of one word, and I'm going to share that word with you. It's very simple, plain and simple, folks. Mindset. That's all it was. Once I started thinking like a real entrepreneur, everything in my business changed. Everything. I started making money on a consistent basis. I started doing and applying techniques that I learned from other successful online entrepreneurs, and I started getting results. And it was all a mindset thing, folks. And it was as simple as that for me. So anyway, that's who I am. That's how I got to where I am today. So I want to go on with the content of this webinar, and that's what you came here for. Now, here's the ugly truth, folks. The ugly, ugly, ugly truth. See, according to Dun and Bradstreet, and I know most of you, well, maybe all of you on this call, on this webinar, know what the Dun and Bradstreet folks are, and that's a very reputable source. 90% of people who attempt to start an online business end up failing to make a profit. But it gets worse, guys. It actually gets worse than that. See, because according to Money Magazine, and this is another reputable source I know you guys know of, only 20% of successful online businesses earn 100K or more per year. Now, let's break that down a little bit. Okay, that means that of the 10% of the successful online entrepreneurs, a measly 20% manage to earn 100K or more. That's not good, guys. I think we can all agree that that's not good at all. But let's dig deeper as to why that is, because I want to expose to you, as I was digging into the data that was in front of me, I want to expose what that is that they were doing. And now all of the people who fail had very similar characteristics, and I'm sure it can relate to some of the people on this webinar, maybe all of you guys. Okay. So what are they doing to cause this failure, right? Basically, one of the things that they do is they have this "I can figure this all out myself" mentality. Now, This is key, folks, because think about it. When you were learning algebra for the first time, did you need help? The answer is yes. No one figures out algebra by themselves. A very finite groups of people can pick up a book and actually figure this out on themselves. Um, Very few people can just learn how to drive themselves. Very few people could just learn how to drive a bike themselves. The point, when you go to college to learn stuff, when you learn your job, like for instance, when I was a program manager, I didn't wake up one day and say I want to be a program manager. I was a program manager. No, I was taught that. I went to I got PMI certified and all that kind of stuff, and through, then through a couple of opportunities, I became a program manager. It's no different from this online thing. You gotta get help, and if you have this "I can do it myself" mentality, it's part of the reason why you're failing. And what happens when you can do it yourself, when you think you can do it yourself, is that you end up becoming overwhelmed. All the Google, Blogger, Yahoo, all this stuff thrown at you, information overload all over again, and you just get overwhelmed, right? And then you try so many different things on your own that your plan of action to succeed looks something like this spaghetti drawing instead of looking like something like this, where it's nice and structured and it has a clear path to success, right? And then what happens is, and I know a lot of you guys can relate to what I'm talking about here, okay? So what happens is you then buy those one click to riches programs, that do a wonderful job of marketing. First, first of all, let me get this out of the record, guys. I don't condone any of that behavior. As a matter of fact, I hate it. I think it does a lot of harm to this wonderful industry called internet marketing. This is an outstanding industry, but when stuff like this comes out, it just puts a black mark on it, and that's not good. That's not good at all. And I wish they would stop doing that stuff. But anyway, what happens is the people who fail end up buying one of those things because they really want to succeed. So they think, hey, wow, one click to riches. Let me try this because they're sold a dream that making instant cash without doing any work is a good thing, and they think it's possible. They're sold that dream. And guys, let me tell you something. Many of you on my list know what I talk about all the time, and I always tell you guys it is very easy to make money online, and I hold that to be true. It's very easy to make money online. I'm living proof of that. However, it does take work. Is the work hard to do? No. Can anyone do it? Yes, anyone can do exactly what it is to do to make money online, but it is work. It's not a one click or two click, wonder pill or something like that. I just want to get that out of the way because I want to discourage anyone on this webinar, but that's the facts, and I'm a very transparent marketer, folks, and please understand that this takes work. But anyway, going back to what I was trying to say, all those things are happening in your path to success, or you think it's a path to success, is really a path to failure. What ends up happening, folks, is you end up frustrated. I mean, you just, it's like, man, there's nothing seems to work. You feel just disgusted with the whole process. And I can understand that. Okay? I can totally understand that. Then what happens, since you're so frustrated and you still have a burning desire, you end up getting wrong advice from unqualified people. And this one is a big one. I mean, if we can prevent most people from getting to this point and finding out how to seek the right people, a lot of that failure rate, that 95%, that 90% failure rate will disappear. Guaranteed. Because this is a big one. You end up getting the wrong advice from unqualified people, and that's not good at all. So the thing is that you're still interested. There are still interest in the whole thing, even with the wrong advice. And what happens is your cycle to success looks something like this. You want to reach 10 grand per month, right? So you buy a program or whatever. You try it for 1 or 2 months. that whole thing that I just talked about happens, and you say, oh no, it's a scam. Then you go right back to the zero. You start out with another program. You try all the techniques that they talk about. You try that for 1 or 2 months. That doesn't work. You think that's a scam. You go right back to another program, and so on and so forth. And when you do that, folks, you never reach this goal. You never get to the $1,000 per month, the 5,000 per month, or the 10,000 per month. You just get stuck in this cycle going back and forth to program after program after program, whether it's bad advice, good advice, it just never ends. So understanding this thing is critical because you need to stop doing this in order to get to $10,000 per month. Okay? So the $1 million question is, what do the successful online entrepreneurs who earn six figures, what do they do? What are they doing to make it happen, right? I know that's what you're asking. So it's really simple, folks. All they do is seek help from someone who has been where they are and can show them how to get to where they want to be. That's it. It doesn't get any easier than that. But that's just the first step. Okay, to be honest, that's just the first step. Because they have a clear vision with a step-by-step path to success. A very, very clear vision. Because they get the advice from someone who's been there, right? They know the hidden challenges that will be faced with before they hit them. Again, because they were coached by somebody who can show them this. And they have the knowledge necessary to turn their business into a high profit machine. Basically, I'm talking about automation here. Again, they get the knowledge from someone who's been there before and can show them. And they take immediate action. Folks, this is huge. A lot of people, everyone that I know that I've interviewed in the successful route, they're quick action takers. Like you give them something today, and like tomorrow they're implementing it. That's awesome. I mean, and that's what makes a difference. So it's important for you to understand those characteristics, okay? But that's not all, folks. And I don't want to sound like an infomercial here, but that really truly is not all. You see, the important thing for all successful entrepreneurs and what they all do is they understand the four ingredients to imminent success. And I'm going to break those down to you. So this is where you got to really take notes, okay? Number one is that they market what their passion is. They market what they're passionate about, what's in their heart. Once you do that, believe it or not, folks, that's as simple. That's one of those simplest steps to do is market what you're passionate about. Everyone has a passion. And then once you do that, you will have success without doubt. Okay? Number two, they all understand the three pillars of success, which is A, mindset. We talked about that a little bit before, but mindset is one of the most important ingredients to success, folks. Okay? And that's why I have it in the pillars here. B, they understand marketing. See, internet marketing is glamorous and it's fun and all that stuff, and everybody likes it. Woohoo! You can get leads all day long, and they opt in, yada yada yada. And it's true, but if you don't understand marketing, you have nothing. And then last but not least is C, understanding communication mastery. Folks, whether you talk to people on the phone, on the internet, on a sales letter, on a video, on an email, you need to understand communication and you need to master it. Okay? Now, number three is thinking in terms of long term. Now, this is a little bit harder for me to describe here, but this is very important, and it took me a while to understand it when I was getting started, okay? But I'm going to share this with you because it's important. When you think in terms of long term, your success is so quickly reached is unbelievable. And here's what I mean. And I'm going to talk to you about it. I'm going to break it down to a small example, and not just your whole business, but a small example. I can do a whole webinar on this topic, basically, but let's just give you a small example. If you have a marketing piece, a postcard, and a Google AdWords account, Yahoo Marketing, whatever you're going to use to deliver your message, okay, a solo ad. When you think in terms of long term, I mean, you have to begin with the end in mind. And what I'm talking about here is before you write your sales letter, before you write any kind of marketing piece, think about the end outcome of what that is. And there's a trick to this, guys, and I would love to teach you this one day, but there's a trick to this where you once you have that end goal in mind, you can actually write the piece to that degree. And it's hard for me to describe it on this webinar. At some point, I would love to talk about it more, and maybe you guys can send some emails on it. And if you want me to produce an email on that, I can do that. So you can, maybe I could put together an email series so you can understand what I'm talking about. But because this is critical, beginning with the end in mind, so you think in terms of long term, and you will succeed, guaranteed. Number 4 is learn how to deal with adversity. Really quickly, I could make a whole webinar just on this too. This is real quick, but basically join a mastermind group, because there's adversity that's going to happen in your business, folks. And if you think that not, then there's something wrong. There's going to be some adversity, and masterminding is one of the greatest ways to deal with adversity, if not the greatest way. Okay, so those are the 4 keys to imminent success. Those are the ingredients. You do that, and you will be successful quicker than anything else. Okay, now the only outcome that can happen when you follow those 4 ingredients, and you actually have someone help you who have been where you were today, and where you can get you where you want to be. The only thing that can happen, folks, is success. That's the only thing that can happen. I can guarantee that. Okay. Now, I know you're probably asking, okay, what's in it for me, right? What does this all have to do with you, right? Okay, I'm gonna get to that, okay? Because here's the good news. My promise was to give you a path to imminent online success, and more importantly, how to build a $10,000 per month business online, guaranteed, right? Now, I went on a mission, guys. When I went on to this Dun & Bradstreet thing, I went on a mission because I couldn't understand the whole 90%. As you know, to me, it's so easy to make money online. Why are 90% people failing? So I went on this mission, and I wanted to help as many home-based entrepreneurs out there as possible, people who are really looking to succeed. So I initially thought about creating a rock-solid internet marketing course that shows, home business entrepreneurs how to truly grow a successful home-based business. And, that was my initial thought. I said, this is how I'm going to help a lot of people. But, see, there was a couple of issues with that idea. See, I thought to myself, who needs another home study course that shows people how to make money online? I mean, there are a plethora of them out there. Okay, and I don't think we need another one. B, there's some core competencies that needed to be addressed. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it wasn't complete. That whole idea that I had wasn't complete. Just some core things need to be addressed. So I decided to do some digging, and I went back to the stats that I found when I was doing my research with Dun & Bradstreet. There was some finite details in there that I knew the answer to this challenge was there somewhere, and of what I can come up with to help the people the maximum way so they can get maximum results. Okay. See, it became evident that people who weren't successful all need to know how to convert themselves from an employee to an entrepreneur. That is paramount, folks. When you convert yourself from an employee to an entrepreneur, things happen tremendously in your life and in your business. And you know what I'm talking about, see, because it all stems around mindset. It really does stem around mindset, when you convert yourself from employee to that's all it is, mindset, period. And we talked about that a little earlier. However, they also need to understand marketing before they learn how to market on the internet. You see, the core the core feature is marketing, folks. Once you understand that concept, you can use it in all kinds of media. The internet is just a media to is just a medium to use for your marketing. So you need to first understand the principles, and then you can use the internet. I hope this is all making sense. So here's my decision, guys. Instead of creating yet another internet marketing course that we all know we need that like we need a hole in the head. You know what I'm saying? I decided to help, this disturbing 90% failure rate stat that's haunting the home business online entrepreneurs in the following way. Because I don't know about you guys, 90% is something that's disturbing to me. A 90% failure rate, knowing how easy it is to make money online and knowing that 90% of you guys are failing, it's disturbing. Okay, so I said, okay, how am I going to help you? And the best way I can help you is for you to meet with me one on one. I'm not talking about face to face. I'm talking over the phone. And I want to help you actually understand all of the pillars that you need to understand. It's about an hour and a half conversation. That's why I created what's called the Winner Circle Online Business Strategy Session. I'm going to create a strategy session for you guys to truly who are inspiring to actually gain $10,000. If you're not looking for $10,000 a month, maybe this isn't for you. Um, but if you're looking for $10,000 a month or more, this is definitely for you. This is for the go-getter of the people who really, really want to take their business and explode in over the next 12 months. Okay, so I'm calling it the Winner Circle Online Business Strategy Session. Now, I'm sure you're asking, okay, what does it entail? What's in it? What am I going to learn in the strategy section? Basically, I'm going to create a clear vision for your ultimate business success and the perfect lifestyle that you like your business to provide. Now, it's very important, folks, for you to understand and for you to have a vision for your business. It all starts with that, because if you're spinning your wheels, as we talked about before, and you have that spaghetti drawing, that's not a clear vision. You don't have a clear path to success, and that's what this thing is going to create, that vision for you. Okay, I'm going to uncover some hidden challenges that may be sabotaging the growth of your business, and that's very key. Once I dissect what's going on, once you actually reveal to me what's going on, what you've tried, what you haven't tried, and stuff, I'm going to uncover some hidden challenges. And you're going to be, they're eye-opening things, guys. Okay. I want to make sure that you leave this session renewed and energized and inspired to turn your business into a high profitable revenue generating machine. And I want it to run itself. Okay, I want to show you automation. You need to understand that. And once you understand that, once we leave the strategy session, you'll see how simple that is. I also want to I want you to discover the one simple step that you can take immediately and take it and go into action. See, action takers succeed. People who procrastinate don't succeed. And that's a given fact. I'm not inventing that. That's a truth. That's a truth right there. That's unbelievably true. And you know what I'm talking about. You know what I'm saying? Because if you're not taking action on stuff that work, a proven process that works, if you're not taking action on those things, that could be the reason why you're failing. And more importantly, folks, I want to show you how I can guarantee that you will earn at least $10,000 per month within the next 12 months. Sometimes these strategy sessions get very, very involved, folks. Very, very involved, and I sometimes forget to mention that. So if I forget to mention it when we get together in our strategy session, just remind me, please remind me, because I'm a human being just like you. I forget just like you guys, so please remind me. Okay. Now, before even showing this, before even putting this out to the general public, I decided to put it to the test, because I said, okay, if I really sit down and talk to some inspiring online entrepreneurs, people with a burning desire to really want to succeed online, can I make them succeed with an hour and a half, hour to hour and a half discussion? You know, can I do that? Okay, I was finding people who were struggling, and they were already in my inner circle. They weren't really engaged or involved, but they had a burning desire. So I put them through a questionnaire and all that kind of stuff. So I knew that they were the right people to actually talk to and try to help, right? And I basically spoke to 10 home business entrepreneurs that there was seeking success, and they had that burning desire. That was the criteria. They had to have that burning desire to really want to make it happen for themselves and their family, because this thing is a life changing stuff, right? So here are the results of those 10 people. Just little beta test that I had. Okay, that was just outstanding results. See what happened is that they all reached their goal. They all reached their goal of $10,000 per month. And on average, it was like this. They first reached 5,000 per month between 3 to 6 months, and this is on average between the 10. And then once they got to the 5,000 per month, it took them on average between 2 to 4 months to get $10,000 per month. Now these results aren't typical. I mean, I'm just have that full disclaimer here that people are always saying now, and it's true. I mean, the FCC, the FTC is really pounding on us. These results are not typical. That's what happened with the 10 people that I worked with, and I helped them with that glorified success. There's no reason why it shouldn't happen with you. If you have that burning desire to reach 10 grand, I can show you to do that. We can work together, and just hook up with me on that strategy session. I'll show you that path. Okay, now I just want to share a couple of testimonials that came by way of those 10, just a few of those 10 that talked. First, there was Charles, who's in the MLM industry. He wrote, I just want to thank you, Frank, for showing me the path to true online success. Before chatting with you on the strategy session, I had no idea what I was doing. Since then, I have actually collected 36 leads in the last 7 days, just using one of your techniques. I can't thank you enough. That's Charles, and he's in Texas. Then there was Dorothy, who's in the insurance business. And Dorothy says, I'm so thankful for your help that I am at a loss for words. I can't explain the joy and satisfaction when someone calls me up and says, I found you on the internet, and I understand that you can help me with my health insurance. Thanks to you, I finally have gained a steady flow of clientele. That's Dorothy, and she's in Iowa. And then there's Christina, who's in the internet marketing business. Before I met Frank, I knew nothing about SEO. After just one conversation with him, I took action on a few things he suggested that I do, and within 12 days of trying his suggestion, I was on the first page of Google and actually collecting leads, something I was unable to do in the past. Thanks, Frank. That's Christina, and she's in Florida. So I know what you're probably thinking right now, right? You're saying, okay, well, how much is this going to cost? Now, before I tell you how much this is going to cost, ask yourself this thing. Ask yourself this question. What is it worth to actually know that finally you will succeed with your home business? What is that worth to you? So before you ask any questions, just find that out. What's worth to you? What is success worth to you? Okay? What is that worth to you? Now, I'm going to reveal to you what I charged those 10 people, okay? Because those beta folks, I charged them $1,500 for that 1 hour or hour and a half. In some cases, it went off to 2 hours, but that's another story. Okay, that's what I charged them, which I gave them a discount. I gave them a 50% discount because I normally charge $3,000 for 1 hour consultation with me, but I charged them $1,500. But you see, you won't need to pay that, folks, because for a limited time only, if you take action, you're ready to take action right now, I'm going to give it to you 100% free. The Winner Circle online business strategy session is yours 100% free, where you can sit down with me one-on-one and finally dissect what's wrong with your business and guarantee a $10,000 per month business within 12 months. So I'm opening the doors, folks. I'm going to open the doors to a select few who are ready to take action right now. Now, I just want to warn you something. There is a catch with what I just said, okay? You see, since my time is very, very limited, as you can imagine, I only have time to work with the people who are ultra serious about finally earning a full-time income with your online business. See, now this is very important, folks. You have to be ultra serious. If you're not, then I don't, then I can't help you. If you're not going to take action with the suggestions that I'm going to tell you how to work your business, how to exactly structure your business, we'll dissect everything what's wrong and why you're not earning the money that you're earning. If you're not going to take action with those things, then the online business strategy session is not going to work for you. It just is as simple as that. So that's why you have to be ultra serious. Now, head on over to mybusinessstrategysession.com. There's a button that might have popped up in the bottom here. I say might. I see it on my screen. However, in the other webinars that I've had, I've noticed that some people were complaining I wasn't seeing a button or whatever, so I included this on this webinar to make sure that you at least know where the what site that you need to go to. So if you don't see a button that says more information that popped up just now, then head on over to mybusinessstrategysession.com right now so you can schedule. You just fill out the form and you can schedule an appointment with me on that form. It's a very quick form to fill out. Now I noticed that if you have Firefox you don't have a problem with these, but if you have IE and Chrome, my technical folks are telling me that there's some issues with that. Hopefully I'll resolve this next week, but until I resolve it, just head on over to mybusinessstrategysession.com. If you don't see the button that popped up that says more information, I see it on my screen. You might not be seeing it on yours. So if you don't have it, head on over to mybusinessstrategysession.com. Register for it. What's going to happen is you're going to register for the online business strategy session. Within 24 hours of the next business day, my assistant will be calling you to schedule it based on what is best for you. Now, I gotta reiterate something, folks. Remember, I only have time to work with people who are ultra serious about actually turning their business into into a revenue generating machine. You have to be serious about that. So head on over to the website right now or click on the button that says more information and it'll take you to that website, mybusinessstrategysession.com, and I look forward to seeing you on the strategy session so I can help you grow your business. Now, I want to conclude this with a couple of recaps here. All of the 90% folks who failed never sought out help. They spun their wheels. They bought all those silly programs, and they did sought help like for wrong advice from wrong people and all that stuff. But that's not real help. It has to be from someone who's been where they are. Like myself, I've been where you are right now, and I can help you get to where you need to be. Okay. All of the 10% who succeeded all sought out help and got the help from the right people. Someone who's been there and done that, and that can help them get there. So just head on over right now to mybusinessstrategysession.com. The button should still be down there, and just start succeeding in your business. With that, folks, wish you nothing but the best. Fill out the form. I'll see you in the strategy session. Much success to all of you out there. Be safe. Take care, and bye for now.